Hi, this is Corey Muniz, and I'm here with one of California's new senators, Senator Stern. I want to say thank you so much for being here and giving us a few minutes of your time.
Sure, it's my honor.
And I just wanted you to give us just a little brief catch-up as to what we were discussing inside. We're here in Northridge, California, discussing the permanent shutdown of the Aliso Canyon storage facility.
Well, thank you for reaching out and for all your advocacy on this. What we're talking about today is the latest chapter in a tragedy that is just a manifestation of how the fossil fuel economy can damage communities and real people's lives. When the Porter Ranch gas blowout occurred back in October 2015, we thought, finally, maybe that's enough to convince these folks that you can't have an infrastructure that's this volatile sitting right under a community that's going to displace thousands and thousands of families and make kids sick and kill people's pets. But shockingly, not only did the leak go on for months and months afterwards, but then in the cleanup process, they've really refused to acknowledge the underlying structural defects within that facility. So seismicity, we're on one of the most active earthquake faults, not just in the state of California, but in the whole country, right? The Northridge quake.
Mm-hmm. I was here
and yet they haven't analyzed the seismic risk around Aliso Canyon. Fire hazards, right? We all know LA has our wildfires. They haven't assessed the wildfire risk. And so the bill that we're talking about today is Senate Bill 57, which is a piece of legislation I'm carrying to follow up on my predecessor, Senator Pavley's bill, that kept the facility closed. It put a moratorium basically on reopening the facility, but now the administration is talking about trumping that moratorium and reopening it for 34 wells, and we're trying to put our foot down. And so we're in a battle in the legislature to try to get this bill through and say, you at least, it doesn't actually call for immediately a permanent shutdown. So they can't make the blackout claim on us. But it says you have to keep it shut down at least until you figure out what happened here. And if you don't know what happened, how can you possibly say it's safe? It's very common sense. So I think there's further to go. I think, frankly, we should be shutting down a lot more fossil fuel infrastructure out there because I think it's a risk to our communities. But this modest ask to me seems reasonable. You know, things are not always what they seem in politics, and power lies in very strange places. And the gas company is a very powerful instrument in our politics.
I was hearing you say that inside and hearing you talk about the fact that we really need to put a human face to what we're requesting so
Yes.
that they can see that it's children and it's pets and it's families and it could be your neighbor, your aunt, or your
Yes.
uncle. What actions do you think that we can do as a community to bring that home?
I think it's using both social media and just traditional calls, as well as visiting the Capitol if you have the means and the time to do so. So showing up at the hearing and testifying is huge, and showing up and visiting legislators themselves and showing them yourself, but going on their Facebook pages, going to their Twitter accounts and letting them know, as well as just making that phone call and putting a voice on the other end of the line. But you know what? The LA Times has done a darn good job. Daily News has been covering this, although not as much as we like. So traditional media helps too, but frankly, grassroots organizing is our only hope. And that's why the Food and Water Watch effort is so critically important, because Food and Water Watch is able to unify not just this community, but others throughout the state that want to ban fracking, that are worried about hazardous waste, that know that their communities are at risk from the fossil fuel economy as well. So it's that network that's our only hope to overcome the power of this lobby.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
It's my honor.
It's great to actually talk to a politician that's really up for the people.
I'm trying. It's a hard job. I'll keep at
Well,
it.
you're not alone.
Thank you.